Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse, and I'm streaming live from the Found Hotel in downtown Boston, Massachusetts. Welcome.
Woo-hoo, welcome, and I'm streaming live from the satellite Green Nurse headquarters down in South Shore of Massachusetts. And here we are. Welcome. Beautiful. Right? So welcome to the Daily Dose.
Ready to go.
AFA, right? Absolutely fucking amazing.
The Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA, baby.
That's right. Where do we bring you, Mark?
Fucking amazing.
Right. And because you're absolutely fucking amazing, we want you to realize that we are hoping to bring you high thoughts. H for hope,
yes.
I for inspiration, G for growth, and H for healing. And you, Mark, wrote a book all about high vibe thoughts and how you can live a life you love, right?
It's your life. You might as well love it. Yeah. You know, that's the part, and you know, it segues right into the daily love. So the book's about how to live a life that you love. And the reason you end up in a life that you don't love is you listen to other people. We all do it. We're immersed in everybody else's stories, and we're told all of these things about how we are and how we need to act. And, you know, it's all extremely a bunch of bullshit, okay? You don't need to live anybody's life but your own. So whatever makes you happy is what you should be doing. And that includes everything, relationships, jobs, whatever. Yeah. And sometimes in life, there are things you need to do that aren't necessarily pleasant, but if in the right mindset, they actually, they become a part of life that you look back and you enjoyed, even though they were difficult at the time.
Oh, yes.
Good morning, Maria.
Because it builds resilience, right? It builds resilience. It builds grit.
Yeah.
How much do you want to live? Right? Yeah. How much do you want to live a healthy, happy life?
Right.
Starts inside, right? Not the outside stuff. And so when I was thinking about your book this morning, I'm in the shower and I'm like, AFA, like really, you know, exactly as you are. How can I what does that really mean? And so I'm sitting there and all of a sudden it hit me. The water's hitting me. And, you know, just think about hot water, cold water, uncomfortable water. That's the outside. So the outside stuff isn't going to change what's going on inside. Right. So it was just the analogy. So I'm like, oh, my God, you know, regardless of what's going on the outside, I don't need to let it penetrate into my being to change the core of who I am. Right. And that's what you teach in this book.
That's right.
Right. And so what are we celebrating today, Mark? Today is what? The very last day of
Oh, my
April.
God.
Do you believe
it? It is my favorite month, my birth month.
Your birth month.
And
yes,
you know, we're going into May, which is the big spring month, you know, in New England. You know, I got to take my first flight this week in a year, and I've flown back to Boston, which for me, Boston is home. Like that's my jam. You know, it was cold and rainy yesterday, and I was like, I would get naked right now and stand in this cold rain. And just, oh, it's me, you know. And I'm traveling with a guy, traveling with a guy who grew up in South Florida, right? So his joy is like that sunshine and that 80 and 90 degree heat. For him, that's great. So yesterday was not great for him, but for me, it was like energizing. It was, being home and back in the game. And so it was really, really nice. And let's roll into the daily love, because it really is tied into AFA, right? Good. Being AFA. Now, you have a quote. You said you have a quote this morning you wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah, I do actually, but I want to hear yours first because Mark, we vibe. Okay, so cool. I have a feeling they're going to feed off of one another just for some reason. I have that intuition.
We vibe,
so I want to hear yours.
We vibe, baby. And I can't wait to hear about you. You did me a solid last night, and I was supposed to be hosting a cannabis panel in Washington, D.C., And you graciously stepped in, and I was like, I had no anxiety when I said, Sherry, could you do this for me? Because I'm traveling on this, I'm going to have this meeting I need to attend, and I can't do this event. You stepped right in. And I can't wait to hear about your experience of doing that, because God, I can only imagine how awesome the panel was with you as the MC. Oh my God, I can't wait to hear it.
It was really fun. Okay. It was really fun and really funny. So we'll talk about that. Go ahead. The daily love, because you're already making me smile. And part of my quote has to do with smiling. So it's so fun. We're one big happy Swami family. We like to make everyone laugh and smile and feel good.
Smiling is one of the best things that you can do. It changes the world when you smile, when you personally smile. So it's on you. It's your responsibility. Change the world. Start smiling right now.
That's it. Great.
Anyway, love. Let's go.
Let's do it.
So, Sherry, in the daily love, people maybe get sick of hearing about, what you think is what you get, and you're a mental being, and how you're thinking is exactly what you're going to have manifested in your life. But the truth of the matter is, you need to hear it on a regular basis, because if you aren't continually reminded of it, you'll just immerse back into daily life. Like life just happens, time goes by, and you wonder what the hell happened with it, because you're just immersed in it, and you don't have that moment to think again, hey, if I can change the way I think, these external circumstances that I'm not so fond of are going to change. So here we go. This is from my man, Emmett Fox, who I just love his stuff. And it's called You Are a Mental Being. And he starts it off really, he says, man. And when he says man, he's meaning man or woman. It's non-gender based. It's whatever you are identifying as. Is a mental being. And to know this is the first step on the road to freedom and prosperity. For as long as you believe yourself to be primarily physical, a superior kind of animal, you will remain in bondage. In bondage, that is to say, to your own habits of thought, for there is no other bondage. That's it. Mind is primary, but mind must have embodiment, and the embodiment of your mind is found in your visible conditions. The kind of health you have, your financial position, your business connections, the sort of home you have, and all of the 1,001 things that make up your present environment. Yes. So the truth of the matter is, if you want those outside things to change, you need to change the inside. It's an inside job.
It's an inside job. That's it. And Mark, it just makes sense.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we don't live like that, Sherry.
No,
we don't live like that. We strive.
It's called, we have built-in forgetters.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we get distracted.
We forget.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we have that part of our brain that, makes all the habits that we do naturally, that we don't even think about, once we habitualize something, we don't think about it anymore. Like driving a car, you just drive the car and you don't really think about it after you've mastered it. And, that part of your brain just wants to keep you alive. And if you did something yesterday, you're going to do it again today. That's just you'll be Groundhog Day. Your life is basically Groundhog Day. You'll do the same things over and over and over again. But that's true for any situation. So if you're unhappy with the amount of money you make, it's not about your job. It's not about your boss. Work or
you're breaking up, Nurse Mark.
How do you think about it?
I don't know if I'm breaking up or you're breaking up, but you have a nice frozen face right about now. Are you still there? Having some technical difficulties, so I'm not sure if y'all can hear me or Mark or both of us at the same time, if we're fuzzy, but this is sometimes what happens when we travel. Mark, you there? Mark? All right, so what I'm going to do, because I am... You back? All right, I'm going to keep talking. If anyone is out there, just let me know what you can hear and not hear. Mark, are you there? You back? You back? All right. Good morning, people. Welcome, welcome. I can't hear Mark. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to continue just a little bit and kind of play on what Mark said about, the mind and going inwards. And part of that too, sometimes is when, this is like doing your shadow work. Oftentimes people are going.
Well, I guess I'm live, folks. Can't hear me now? Can you hear me now, Maria?
There you cannot hear Mark. Can hear me. All right. So we can hear you, Sherry. Okay. Thank you, Ashley. All right. Mark's working on his end. So I'm going to get back to a little bit to what he has to say, and actually how cannabis helped me to do this too. So, you think about those outside circumstances, right? And so when I was going through my illness, a lot of people that go through chronic illness that happen fast, those outside circumstances suck. Okay. They just suck, but you can't let the suckiness of the outside change what's going on in the inside, because it's going to help you to get through the suckiness. So one of the things that we talked about earlier today in the show is about smiling, right? And how can you smile at the world? It doesn't feel good on the outside. And so in ancient China, the Taoists taught that a constant inner smile, a smile to oneself, ensured health, happiness, and longevity. Why? Well, smiling to yourself is like basking in your own love, right? That love. You become your own best friend. And living with that inner smile is to live in harmony with yourself, regardless of what's going on outside. Oh, is he in and out? You back?
Oh my God. Are we back?
I think we're back.
Wow, that was pretty cool.
I know.
I got on my phone. I got on the internet next door. Hey, everybody. What's up? How you been since I've been gone?
They've been pretty good. I was kind of bouncing off of what you just talked about, about the mindset, about going in. And I read a quote, and I'll read it just one more time for people that are just jumping on. Is in ancient China, the Taoists taught that a constant inner smile, a smile to oneself, ensured health, happiness, and longevity. Why? Well, because smiling to yourself is like basking in love. You become your own best friend, and living with that inner smile is to live in harmony with yourself, regardless of what's going on outside of you, right? The AFA way.
Oh, I'll tell you what, AFA way includes smiling. I think I included in the book. It's smiling will change your world and everybody else's world.
Yeah. It just feels good.
Very literally. It feels good. Smile. Just smile all day long today. People will be like, what's up with them? What's up with Sherry? She's so happy. What's going on? Some people get uncomfortable when you're happy, right?
Yeah.
Not their default condition.
Can I tell you one of the things I used to do with my kids? This is just really funny. When they were all grumpy, like making the face and stomping around and whatever. And I would just sit there and I kind of like grin, because I'm like, oh my God, they're trying to exert their independence. And they look at me and they go, what are you smiling about? And then I would start to like literally giggle. And, and I just said, try not to smile, try not to laugh. Think about how angry you are and try not to laugh. And then literally over time, it would shift the energy. So smiling shifts the energy for sure.
Smile away, baby. Smile away. What a great day to smile.
Yeah.
That's right. You know what? If you encounter somebody today in your life who seems to be a little bit grumpy and unhappy, smile at them. Just grin from ear to ear. They won't be able to not smile back. It's just a human thing. Like you'll lift their mood.
Yeah, because here it is when you're not used to seeing people smile. So when you see someone smile, you're almost like, is that for real? And then, you know what I mean? And then you're like, oh my God, someone's really smiling. Because we are a world that doesn't smile. And it just, I'm telling you, here it is too. I learned this, is it takes less muscles in your face to smile, right? Than it does to frown, right? You use more muscles. So here it is. Smiling relaxes your face. It just does. It just
give your face a break.
Sink into the smile. Yeah.
Right. Give your
so what do we got going? Give your face a break. Absolutely. So we're doing some hugs and nugs. You can see me playing around with my little necklace here.
Yeah.
Okay. I won this. It's Bud Bling. Okay. It is a nug of cannabis. Has been dipped in God knows what, but it's jewelry and it's called Bud Bling. And I absolutely love it. It's really fun. So when I need that, when I need that hug or that nug, I give myself a hug and I grab myself the nug.
You know, Sherry, I wonder, you know, is this like an in case of emergency type thing? All of a sudden you're out and you're in case of emergency. Oh, you can crack that open and there you're smoking. You're good. You're good to go.
Oh my God. It's like, oh my God, there's a concept for jewelers, a locket, right? Think about it. That is a really cool idea. A locket so you can put your nug in it and carry it right around your neck.
Out there make that, will you?
Yep, and call it the green nurse.
Yes. Well, you know, today our topic is on holy bones. And I don't need to make light of it because osteoporosis is a very serious condition, especially for women, you know, for the many reasons that we know of, right? You know, as women age and, you know, osteoporosis is a serious thing. It's part of menopause, the different hormonal things that go on. But there are also lifestyle choices that will really have an impact on osteoporosis as well. So let's get into that and let's talk about the bones.
Yeah, the bones and cannabinoids, the endocannabinoid system, et cetera, et cetera. And this is a topic that's really important to me because I am in my 50s and I'm starting to go through menopause. And I had osteopenia a few years ago and finally had another bone density and it showed that it worsened. So to me, you know, and having those porous bones, what does that mean, right? So it means the density of my bones have diminished over time. I shrunk a little bit. So the bones are, you know, less hard, they're more soft, and you have more risk of injury of spontaneous fractures, right? And so that's a little scary to me because think about this is as you get older, right? What is important for older people is to maintain their cognition and maintain their mobility. So really, really, really important for us to take care of our bones. So what is osteoporosis? It's considered to be a disease of the mucoskeletal system and connective tissue. All right. And so, Mark, we'll just kind of go into like the cell life cycle when it has to do with bones. So we make cells are constantly producing and dying. We've talked about this before, trillions of cells. So cells that destroy aged bones are normally offset by cells that form new bones of proper strength and density, right? So bone density, the strongness of your bones. So in osteoporosis, the balance shifts and more cells are destroyed than created, right? So usually, you know, you have the equal, destroyed, create, destroy, create, and it's equal balance. But in osteoporosis, it's different. There's more that's being destroyed than being created. Okay. So what happens once these bones become more porous or more brittle, they're more vulnerable to stress fractures. And a stress fracture could be as simple as stepping off a curb. Like I've, you know, literally, you know, people even bumping into things. It's really scary. So the most common we talked about, Mark, is in women, especially with the hormonal shifts during menopause. And those patients that receive steroids, right? So you have to think about how steroids can shift. It's the other thing too, is I was on steroids. I forgot about that.
Well,
there you go.
You know, steroids have a place in medicine, right? There are times when your inflammatory process is haywire and you need to have a round of steroids to just get it back under control. But it's not something that, you know, unfortunately, some people need to stay on them long term.
Chronic steroid use.
To live, right? They need to be on it in order to operate. And so osteoporosis is a serious side effect that they have to deal with.
Exactly. So what are some risk factors, Mark? We talked about.
Listen, risk factors, of course, the hormonal changes that go through menopause and the steroid use. Smoking, osteoporosis is part of, you know, the negative side effects of smoking. And of course, age. As you age, you know, things do slow down and that bone, you know, that bone growth and death, that whole cycle, you know, that whole thing slows down a bit. And so if you're more on the osteoporosis side and you're not generating as much new bone, you know, you're just going to continue to lose bone over time. So, you know, we'll talk about how you can treat it right now, Sherry. How do you do it?
All right. Right now, how you can treat it. Generally, when it gets bad, the doctors are going to suggest pharmaceuticals, and there's a whole, you know, there's a whole theory behind that. Yeah. Nutrition is huge. Minerals, vitamins, vitamin D, right? Calcium from food sources. That's what they say too. So it's really hard. It's great. I have to supplement because I can't eat enough food in a daytime to get everything that I need. So having to supplement with things that you're not getting, but trying to get the majority of your vitamins and your micronutrients from your foods.
And my biggie, what's the next one?
I know. And this is where we are all going to work on. Motion is the lotion, exercise.
Yeah. And not a lot of women, I mean, there are some women more now. We're talking about weight-bearing exercises. We're not talking about running. We're not talking about being on the treadmill. We're not talking about going for a walk. That's not going to help you. You're going to have to lift heavy weights. It's weight-bearing exercises. I know you think of the big lunk in the gym, throwing the weights around and making noise. You know, they have the lunk alarm at Planet Fitness, which, by the way, I got kicked out because I'm a lunk. But it's weight-bearing exercises.
Weight-bearing exercises.
Take up weightlifting. Weightlifting, that force of that weight on the bones is going to generate new bone. It's going to help you avoid having these issues later in life, which are really serious issues.
They are serious issues. So this will be funny. I'm getting in the mail little wristbands, 2-pound wristbands, and I got some for my ankles as well. So just as easy, you know, you can right in the backyard, right? You can keep it simple. And we're gonna work on this because I know I'm not the only one out there that is, you know, now into osteoporosis. You know, and here's the thing that was really interesting. I had no idea, right? No symptoms at all. Didn't know my bones were weakened. You know, my spinal posture is generally pretty good, but the thing that did happen was I shrunk half an inch. So the thing that's interesting, which I loved and got really, really excited about, was cannabis and osteoporosis studies, right? You got those notes up? You want to get into them?
Yes, I do.
All right. I really loved, I'll just give a quick hint. The overall positive was 89%.
Isn't that awesome?
Right? Yeah. Big one.
Yeah.
And this is not even on a lot of studies, 13 studies.
Now, you know, there are some adjunct studies, Sherry, that have been around that I know that I've seen that have shown that cannabis can be positive for bone growth and for bone healing and generating new bone. I've seen those. They weren't specifically for osteoporosis, but we're talking about studies that have done with cannabis and osteoporosis specifically. But, you know, folks, there are other studies already out there, and the adjunct information that wasn't the primary study focus or question. But as a side note, they noted, wow, the bones got stronger. Okay.
Exactly.
So we need to do a little more research into why cannabis is having a positive effect on bone growth and resorption.
I think it's just fascinating. And so basically one of the preclinical trials, which I really, you know, thought was very positive, was it suggested that cannabis does not negatively affect bone mineral density in the hip or spine. And so when they're looking at osteoporosis, those are the areas that they're generally looking at first. And so basically cannabis use, 89% positives, right? And so the other data also suggested that the potential involvement of both the receptor sites that we've talked about, the CB1 receptors and the CB2 receptors, in modulating osteoporosis, doing very different things. So I thought that was really interesting. So just think of it this way: cannabis hitting it from multiple angles, right? That's the way, the analogy I would make. So if we talk about what agonists, antagonists, agonists do something,
We talk
antagonists don't do
chemistry,
something.
we talk
Talk a little bit
biochemistry,
of
we
chemistry.
talk
Yeah.
receptors. God, I
Yes.
love
Yeah.
this stuff.
Exactly. So think about the
Yeah.
CB2 receptors when we talk about that
Mhm,
more in like the immune system. And so when they
mhm.
activate those, right, what
Yeah.
happens is the therapeutic effect, such as reestablishing and maintaining
Mhm,
balance between removing old bones and sustaining new bone density. So in other words, that balance that was unbalanced, they're
mhm,
showing that activation of these receptors, CB2
mhm,
receptors, actually
mhm.
helps to balance out, right? Homeostasis, boink.
Right.
That's what we talk about,
It's all
right?
about homeostasis. It's
Yes.
maintaining the balance. Remove the
Yeah.
old and bring in the new. It's
No,
what we do. What is it?
exactly.
Every 3 years, we're totally a completely new person. Like every 3
Completely
years,
new.
by that over that period of time, our cells have died and been regenerated with new ones. And
Yeah.
you know, that is
And
think of it, it's amazing. We're not the same people we were 3 years ago.
I can tell you what, photos will show that for sure. You
I'm
know what I
avoiding
mean? Like
photographs. I'm avoiding mirrors. I'm just living life, baby. I'm
living
smiling my
life.
way through it. That's why I got these smile wrinkles. I'm happy about these. Yeah.
Well, that's the part too that's interesting too. Even looking at the old photos, I
Yeah.
can just see from how using cannabis, how my
Mhm.
whole demeanor has changed into one of being able to adapt. That's my favorite
Yeah.
word for how cannabis works in my body on all of my
Mhm.
systems. It helps me to adapt. So I
Yeah.
can like continue to plug on, right? And to smile even when I don't want to.
Oh yeah, baby.
You got to laugh
Got to
sometimes
keep
at life.
smiling. You got to keep
Yep.
smiling. Listen,
Laugh at life.
oh my God. So it goes back to the whole thing, back to AFA, back to really understanding who you are at your core. We're on a short ride, guys. This
No,
is
it's really
not, this is over so freaking quickly. Really, if you've done, I've been in the hospice environment. Sherry, you have. I know my wife Jamie has. And for people who have been in the hospice environment, and you get to sit with people who are on days of life, you get to hear stories and you get to hear feedback from those folks that it is such a short blip. And for me,
blip.
of course, I'm
Boink.
eternal. So yeah, this is a short blip, and I'll be back in a moment, folks. I'm going to go back in
I'll be
bliss
back
for a
in.
while, and but hey, listen, bliss gets boring. I mean, if you got nothing to do and everything's happy and there's nothing to be worried about, it's pretty boring after a while. So hey, let's dip back into this crazy world here and have a physical reality.
That's that's it too, Mark.
Short.
How do you evolve? You have to get involved,
Yeah.
right? So you get involved in life with all of these, right? You must be involved in life in order
Yeah.
to evolve.
Yeah.
You're just sitting there doing nothing. How are you
Yeah.
evolving? You're just sitting there doing nothing.
Yeah. Nothing changes. Nothing changes.
changes. Right.
Yeah, and
So
it
we're
goes
going to
back to that
continue
mental. So yeah, so here we are,
the
Sherry.
mental.
We're at the end of the
Yeah.
show. We're
We're
winding down.
We're winding down, and
Beautiful
we're going to
Friday.
continue.
Oh my God, it's crispy and cool, and I'm in New England. I'm like,
It is nice. It's
I
sunny
miss
out. To
my
me, it's
wife.
really
Oh my
warm.
God, she's walking the beach and enjoying a beautiful beach day in Florida, and but you know what? I get to see her later on this afternoon, so I'm
I
happy.
know
I'm
you
happy.
do.
Well, I'm
You get to
smiling.
smiling. So
Mhm.
take this day and smile. And
Yeah.
in 20 minutes, I think at 9 a.m., join us in the Green Nurse community. We're going to continue smile therapy.
Yes.
I don't have it with me, but with
listen, toss some energy my
vibration.
way, will you?
Oh,
Throw
I
something at me.
certainly will. Yeah, bourbon boy.
Oh, throw it back. Yeah, I had to take one for the team last night. Ooh.
You're going for the team. You're so cute.
Yeah.
You're so cute. But I will be sending you those high vibes. And actually, I can run a program.
Yep.
I'll scan you and run a program and see what your body's deficient in. And
Oh
I'll
my
vibe
God.
it your
Text
way.
me and let me know, will you?
Yeah, I can send you the PDF.
Oh,
So
my God. Guys, listen to this
there's
stuff, right? She's going to scan me energetically, and then she's going to send me a PDF report. Listen, I was in a meeting last night with some of the most forward-thinking people in the medical community. I'm talking Harvard faculty, people who have been, physicians
down the block.
on the cutting edge for many, many years, and new physicians that are in, you know, thinking out that box that we're supposed to think outside of. These are people who aren't even in the box. They're like somewhere out in the stratosphere. I was with them last night in you know, talking about energy healing, new things like this. This is not just some silly fad, right? This is real. So at 9 a.m., we're going to have that healing. And Sherry, do that. Just give me that
I'm
report.
Going to.
And oh my gosh, I just,
and I'll let you know.
Check that out at 9 a.m. today.
You're going to love it. And then on Monday night, we do a webinar, a little bit more detail about the machine and some information on it if people are interested in having sessions or actually purchasing one. So today is about experiential learning. So you actually are going to sit there, do a tiny bit of education. We're going to talk about how it's helped ourselves. I just got a testimonial from another nurse, and we're going to educate you, and you're going to actually be able to feel it. We're going to put some nice calming music on, moment of silence.
Can I tell you on this energetic healing thing? I just got to tell you. Last night I was with folks who are like billionaires, right? And they were talking about other billionaires. There are some people out there who you know very, very well, who you see all the time on TV and stuff. They have machines at their homes that are using frequency and energy to heal themselves. So they're buying these machines that are very, very expensive and utilizing them. They would not be doing that unless it was actually something that was working. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy. And here is the thing too, as nurses, we wouldn't be putting our necks on the line looking like we're insane about energy healing if we didn't know that it worked, right? So if I'm showing up
absolutely right. Again, cutting
edge. You know, we have a responsibility to share all of the progressive tools that we know that can help you all to live your best life. Right?
Boom. And that's it. Boom. What else can we say about that? Everybody have an AFA day. Happy Friday, 9 a.m. See you then. See you 8 a.m. Monday morning, bright and early. Have the best, most amazing, absolutely amazing weekend that you've ever had. Smile your way through the day, baby. Here we go.